Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? It is Well Red Beard, and it's a damn fine day to talk about a book. And today we are going to talk about Crow Calls Volume 2. This is a collective endeavor, a poetry anthology from Quill and Crow Publishing, edited by Cassandra Thompson and Marie Casey. Now, I just did Crow Calls Volume 1, and we talked about it last week, I think. I gave this one 3 stars. I'm at 3 on this one as well, but I liked this one a little bit less. So I guess this one's more like 3.5. I mean, I did not round up to 4, but anyway, 3 stars for me in both cases, but I did like Volume 2 a little bit less than I liked Volume 1. A lot of the same voices, I mean, a lot of the same poets included in Volume 2 as Volume 1, and it's funny because the poets that I really liked in Volume 1, they also got the mark in Volume 2. And those that stood out as being ones that got that in Volume 1 and Volume 2 were A.L. Garcia, David Andrews, I think. Let me check here. David Andrews, as well as K.R. Weiland. Those were 3 of my favorite. I picked like 5. I think I had 5 poems marked in the first book, and 3 of those were those authors. Actually, 4 of them, because I marked 2 A.L. Garcia poems. But in this one, they all got the mark as well. I just really enjoy their voices, their work. Now, I mean, overall, the poems didn't necessarily speak to me. It didn't necessarily resonate with me. That's okay. That happens. I do love the idea. I love the idea of a poetry anthology. I love the idea of all these voices, all these different poems consolidated in one place. Just these different tastes, very similar. I mean, the subject matter is very similar. It's all dark stuff, but a lot of like love-based darkness, a lot of end of life, growing old based darkness. Just some other abuse style things, a loss, things like that. I do really enjoy this, and honestly, like, again, poetry makes me creative. It makes me think. It makes me have ideas. And I had an idea that I would love to see an anthology, a poetry anthology, like a call out for poets to submit. Quill and Crow, if you're watching this, I'm sure you're not ecstatic about a 3-star review, but it is what it is. But something that intrigues me is is those moments before death. Like the moment right before someone makes a decision to stop. Like, even if it was like an apocalyptic scenario, and someone's been fighting against odds for a while, and they're in the corner of a darkened room, the horde of, God forbid I say zombies, but whatever it is, it's coming, and there's no more escape, there's no more running, and that decision to stop. Another thing came to mind. I don't know if you've seen the film Deep Impact. It was one of those asteroid collision movies. There were 2 that came out about the same time, Deep Impact, and the other one where they were like going to go up and drill it. What was that called? Armageddon. It was called Armageddon. But on Deep Impact, at the end, there's this scene where, like, I think it's this young lady and her mother, or this young lady and her father, and they're just standing on a beach, just waiting for the tsunami to basically wipe them off of existence. And the thing that for me, is that decision, that end. It has to be so difficult, but it almost feels like there's this element of extreme peace right then, like peace like you've never felt. I don't know. Anyway, I think that'd be a great idea to take that moment, to think about that moment, and submit little poems about it. So that's my pitch for today. But so, all in all, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I liked it. I definitely enjoyed the experience. Most of the time with poetry, I always find something. I always take something away from it. So some of the poets in here that I did mark and I did enjoy, I'm only going to read a couple of them, but I'm going to try to only read a couple of them. But there's one here by Danny Marie Connolly, and this was a new voice to me, but it goes a little something like this. Darling, when I'm gone, plant my heart in the earth in the quiet amid the willows, and it will bloom each summer, crimson roses for you to gather and place beside our bed. I like that. I like the roses to remember, to keep, to put by the bed. Let's see here. David Andrews got the mark again. I don't know if I'm going to read that one. There's one by K.R. Wieland here. I like this one a lot. And it's, I guess it's talking about a woman that is making a decision to stop being the ultimate giver in a relationship. And it kind of, she's watched herself kind of waste away to nothing through the course of things. And she's taking the steps to kind of put herself back together. But for years, I gave my everything, my all poured out for you, my vibrancy and fervor, leached from me so that you would feel superior, but no more. Just as you once did to me, now I too shall drain you of all that you once were, as I wait to see what remnants of myself remain, gathering the pieces to stitch myself back together. And that is K.R. Wieland. A.L. Garcia's got one in here. It's about death. It's about the end. It's about not being able to escape it. How sorrow undoes everything. I mean, takes all of our. There are no blessings that Lady Sorrow doesn't undo. And I'm kind of basically reading it without reading it there. So let's just read it. Her somber shadow. Somber. Why is that weird? I'm going to start over one more time. Sorry about that. Her somber shadows ring. Her somber shadows ring. Why am I having so much trouble with that? Yeah, I'm here for your comedy relief as well. I'm going to start over. I apologize for that. A.L. Garcia. Her somber shadows ring with the timbre of life's natural evanescence. For my bittersweet Lady Sorrow, there are no blessings she cannot undo in time. Even the eternal is intertwined with loss. None of our flowers can persist. None of our powers can resist the creeping frost of passing seasons. None of our mortal reasons are enough to circumvent the most unforgiving winds of our autumnal years and the winter kiss of death that follows near. I like that stuff. And then I marked one here by Sophie Brooks. It's a cool little piece about stumbling upon a forgotten grave in the woods, and just, it's forgotten, right? We're all forgotten, I think, eventually, but just kind of offering to be that person's graveside mourner. And there's one here I marked by Moxie Malone on page 53 that I really liked. And then one called Ink by Jordan Alyssa Duncan. I'm not going to read this, but it talks about like a writer. If you could drain my essence, you would find ink. And then Library by David Middleham. Probably my favorite in the book just because I love books. It's basically a love letter to books and a library, but probably one of the sexier, I guess, writings about books that I've ever come across. Listen, so it goes. A fingertip traced lovingly, longingly down a spine. Stories shiver between paper sheets. A tender touch, sacred words. My darling library, my leather-bound altar. Undress your pages. I am ready to drown again in your every verse. Ooh, it's hot. That's hot. I'm hot for books. Anyway, so that's it. That's all I'm going to do. It's Crow Calls Volume 2. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. Nothing really necessarily blew me away, but I did enjoy quite a few of the poems. And that's it. So Crow Calls Volume 1 and Volume 2. Definitely a cool project. I mean, definitely something cool to support. And I am no poetry scholar. You may love, you may find love where I just find basic enjoyment. But, cool project, lots of voices given a microphone, so to speak, here. And that's it. Crow Calls Volume 2. This has been Well Read Beard. This has been my poetry review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying all your books as much as I am. If not, you reading the wrong damn books. And one more time, to quote David Joy, read poetry. For God's sake, read poetry.